legal right to fire Fed Chair Powell, and this comes at a time when there is already so much uncertainty from international investors and countries about the stability of the United States. Just give us more on that aspect, and not as much focused on whether or not he can or will fire him, because he can't.
Okay, there are two phrases that are hallmarks of probity and integrity when it comes to the Fed or it comes to economic policy. The first that Treasury secretaries and presidents always say is a strong dollar is in the best interests of the United States. Any deviation from that phrase is dynamite. The second, the Fed is independent and will do what it sees it's fit for the economy, and I have total confidence in the Fed, or some version thereof. Any deviance from that, dynamite. And that's what President Trump is playing with, because even though he can't fire him, the mere thought that you're going to make trouble for the Fed, you're going to put political pressure, you're going to undermine its credibility. Who might he appoint as vice? If a chair comes up, who's he going to pressure? It's very damaging. The only line that governments or presidents are supposed to say is the Fed is independent and will do what it sees fit. Any of this nonsense about the termination, the this, the that, the other, it's undercutting the Fed's independence credibility.
And Richard, just in terms of what Jerome Powell said at the Economic Club of Chicago yesterday, I mean, he really underscored that he was sort of taken aback and a bit surprised by the sheer magnitude of these tariffs, and really said in very plain terms that the U.S. economy was essentially going to suffer if these tariffs went into effect. He really outlined that, and that is one of the reasons why the markets were down yesterday. Just give us your take on what he said there.
The word significantly higher tariffs, we'd heard that a couple of weeks ago, but the different bit was this mention of the dual mandate, full employment and price stability, being in tension with each other, as the Fed chair put it. And he gave us a roadmap. He said, if there comes a choice, which do we deal with? The full employment or the price stability? We deal with the most urgent. We deal with the one that is most pressing. And in this case, it would have probably be the higher inflation. But what that means, higher inflation, by the way, would mean keeping interest rates higher. So that would suggest that the Fed is preparing itself for some form of stagflation, where growth slows to almost nothing, inflation remains high, unemployment starts to rise, and they're only powered to do one versus the other, which would be dealing with inflation.
If the president actually fires Powell, what could that do to the central bank's independence?
Look, there is already so much financial turmoil going on, whether it's the stock market or the bond market. I think this would cause an incredible upset, just as his tariffs have caused in my state and across the country.